Hello and welcome back for day 356. Today we will be reading from the Apocryphal book of 1 Maccabees, chapters 11 and 12, the Apocryphal book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 42, and Revelation, chapter 13. 1 Maccabees, chapter 11. And the king of Egypt gathered together a great host, like the sand that lieth upon the seashore, and many ships, and went about through deceit, to get Alexander's kingdom, and join it to his own. Whereupon he took his journey into Spain in peaceable manner, so as they of the cities opened unto him, and met him, for King Alexander had commanded them so to do, because he was his brother-in-law. Now as Ptolemy entered into the cities, he set in every one of them a garrison of soldiers, to keep it. And when he came near to Azotus, they shewed him the temple of Dagon, that was burnt, and Azotus and the suburbs thereof that were destroyed, and the bodies that were cast abroad, and them that he had burnt in the battle, for they had made heaps of them by the way where he should pass. Also they told the king whatsoever Jonathan had done, to the intent he might blame him, but the king held his peace. Then Jonathan met the king with great pomp at Joppa, where they saluted one another, and lodged. Afterward Jonathan, when he had gone with the king to the river, called Eleutherus, returned again to Jerusalem. King Ptolemy therefore, having gotten the dominion of the cities, by the sea, unto Seleucia, upon the sea coast, imagined wicked counsels against Alexander, whereupon he sent ambassadors unto King Demetrius, saying, Come, let us make a league betwixt us, and I will give thee my daughter whom Alexander hath, and thou shalt reign in thy father's kingdom. For I repent that I gave my daughter unto him, for he sought to slay me. Thus did he slander him, because he was desirous of his kingdom. Wherefore he took his daughter from him, and gave her to Demetrius, and forsook Alexander, so that their hatred was openly known. Then Ptolemy entered into Antioch, where he set 2 crowns upon his head, the crown of Asia, and of Egypt. In the mean season was King Alexander in Cilicia, because those that dwelt in those parts had revolted from him. But when Alexander heard of this, he came to war against him, whereupon King Ptolemy brought forth his host, and met him with a mighty power, and put him to flight. So Alexander fled into Arabia, there to be defended, but King Ptolemy was exalted, for Zabdiel the Arabian took off Alexander's head, and sent it unto Ptolemy. King Ptolemy also died the 3rd day after, and they that were in the strongholds were slain one of another. By this means Demetrius reigned in the 167th year. At the same time Jonathan gathered together them that were in Judea, to take the tower that was in Jerusalem, and he made many engines of war against it. Then came ungodly persons, who hated their own people, went unto the king, and told him that Jonathan besieged the tower, whereof, when he heard, he was angry, and immediately removing, he came to Ptolemaeus, and wrote unto Jonathan, that he should not lay siege to the tower, but come, and speak with him at Ptolemaeus in great haste. Nevertheless Jonathan, when he heard this, commanded to besiege it still, and he chose certain of the elders of Israel, and the priests, and put himself in peril, and took silver and gold, and raiment, and divers presents besides, and went to Ptolemaeus unto the king, where he found favor in his sight. And though certain ungodly men of the people had made complaints against him, yet the king entreated him, as his predecessors had done before, and promoted him in the sight of all his friends, and confirmed him in the high priesthood, and in all the honors that he had before, and gave him preeminence among his chief friends. Then Jonathan desired the king that he would make Judea free from tribute, as also the 3 governments, with the country of Samaria, and he promised him 300 talents. So the king consented, and wrote letters unto Jonathan of all these things after this manner. King Demetrius unto his brother Jonathan, and unto the nation of the Jews, sendeth greeting. We send you here a copy of a letter, which we did write unto our cousin Lasthenes, concerning you, that ye might see it. King Demetrius unto his father Lasthenes sendeth greeting. We are determined to do good to the people of the Jews, who are our friends, and keep covenants with us, because of their good will toward us. Wherefore we have ratified unto them the borders of Judea, with the 3 governments of Ephraim, and Lida, and Ramathaim, that are added unto Judea from the country of Samaria, and all things appertaining unto them, for all such as do sacrifice in Jerusalem, instead of the payments which the king received of them yearly aforetime, out of the fruits of the earth and of trees. And as for other things that belong unto us, of the tithes and customs pertaining unto us, as also the salt pits, and the crown taxes, which are due unto us, we discharge them of them all for their relief, and none hereof shall be revoked from this time forth, forever. Now therefore see that thou make a copy of these things, and let it be delivered unto Jonathan, and set upon the holy mount in a conspicuous place. After this, when King Demetrius saw that the land was quiet before him, and that no resistance was made against him, he sent away all his forces, every one to his own place, except certain bands of strangers, whom he had gathered from the isles of the heathen. Wherefore all the forces of his fathers hated him. Moreover, there was one Tryphon, that had been of Alexander's part afore, who, seeing that all the host murmured against Demetrius, went to Simalcu, the Arabian that brought up Antiochus, the young son of Alexander, and lay sore upon him, to deliver him this young Antiochus, that he might reign in his father's stead. He told him therefore all that Demetrius had done, and how his men of war were at enmity with him, and there he remained a long season. In the meantime Jonathan sent unto King Demetrius, that he would cast those of the tower out of Jerusalem, and those also in the fortresses, for they fought against Israel. So Demetrius sent unto Jonathan, saying, I will not only do this for thee and thy people, but I will greatly honor thee and thy nation, if opportunity serve. Now therefore thou shalt do well, if thou send me men to help me, for all my forces are gone from me. Upon this Jonathan sent him 3,000 strong men unto Antioch, and when he came to the king was very glad of their coming. Howbeit, they that were of the city gathered themselves together into the midst of the city, to the number of 120,000 men, and would have slain the king. Wherefore the king fled into the court, but they of the city kept the passages of the city, and began to fight. Then the king called to the Jews for help, who came unto him all at once, and dispersing themselves through the city, slew that day in the city to the number of 100,000. Also they set fire on the city, and gathered many spoils that day, and delivered the king. So when they of the city saw that the Jews had got the city, as they would, their courage was abated. Wherefore they made supplication to the king, and cried, saying, Grant us peace, and let the Jews cease from assaulting us and the city. With that they cast away their weapons, and made peace. And the Jews were honored in the sight of the king, and in the sight of all that were in his realm. And they returned to Jerusalem, having great spoils. So King Demetrius sat on the throne of his kingdom, and the land was quiet before him. Nevertheless he dissembled in all that ever he spake, and estranged himself from Jonathan, neither rewarded he him according to the benefits which he had received of him, but troubled him very sore. After this returned Tryphon, and with him the young child, Antiochus, who reigned, and was crowned. Then there gathered unto him all the men of war, whom Demetrius had put away, and they fought against Demetrius, who turned his back, and fled. Moreover Tryphon took the elephants, and won Antioch. At that time young Antiochus wrote unto Jonathan, saying, I confirm thee in the high priesthood, and appoint thee ruler over the 4 governments, and to be one of the king's friends. Upon this he sent him golden vessels to be served in, and gave him leave to drink in gold, and to be clothed in purple, and to wear a golden buckle. His brother Simon also he made captain from the place called the Ladder of Tyrus, unto the borders of Egypt. Then Jonathan went forth, and passed through the cities beyond the water, and all the forces of Syria gathered themselves unto him, for to help him. And when he came to Askelon, they of the city met him honorably, from whence he went to Gaza, but they of Gaza shut him out. Wherefore he laid siege unto it, and burned the suburbs thereof with fire, and spoiled them. Afterward, when they of Gaza made supplication unto Jonathan, he made peace with them, and took the sons of their chief men for hostages. and sent them to Jerusalem, and passed through the country unto Damascus. Now when Jonathan heard that Demetrius's princes were come to Cadiz, which is in Galilee, with a great power, purposing to remove him out of the country, he went to meet them, and left Simon his brother in the country. Then Simon encamped against Bethshura, and fought against it a long season, and shut it up. But they desired to have peace with him, which he granted them, and then put them out from thence, and took the city, and set a garrison in it. As for Jonathan and his host, they pitched at the water of Gennesar, from whence betimes in the morning they gat them to the plain of Nasor. And behold, the host of strangers met them in the plain, who, having laid men in ambush for him in the mountains, came themselves over against him. So when they that lay in ambush rose out of their places, and joined battle, all that were of Jonathan's side fled, insomuch as there was not one of them left, except Mattathias the son of Absalom, and Judas the son of Calphi, the captains of the host. Then Jonathan rent his clothes, and cast earth upon his head, and prayed. Afterwards turning again to battle, he put them to flight, and so they ran away. Now when his own men that were fled saw this, they turned again unto him, and with him pursued them to Cadiz, even unto their own tents, and there they camped. So there were slain of the heathen that day about 3,000 men, but Jonathan returned to Jerusalem. 1 Maccabees chapter 12. Now when Jonathan saw that time served him, he chose certain men, and sent them to Rome, for to confirm and renew the friendship that they had with him. He sent letters also to the Lacedaemonians, and to other places for the same purpose. So they went unto Rome, and entered into the Senate, and said, Jonathan the high priest, and the people of the Jews, send us unto you, to the end ye should renew the friendship which ye had with him, and league, as in former time. Upon this the Romans gave them letters unto the governors of every place, that they should bring them into the land of Judea peaceably. And this is the copy of the letters which Jonathan wrote to the Lacedaemonians. Jonathan the high priest, and the elders of the nation, and the priests, and the other of the Jews, unto the Lacedaemonians, their brethren, send greeting. There were letters sent in times past unto Onias the high priest, from Darius, who reigned then among you, to signify that ye are our brethren, as the copy here underwritten doth specify. At which time Onias entreated the ambassador that was sent honorably, and received the letters, wherein declaration was made of the league and friendship. Therefore we also, albeit we need none of these things, that we have the holy books of Scripture in our hands to comfort us, have nevertheless attempted to send unto you for the renewing of brotherhood and friendship, lest we should become strangers unto you altogether, for there is a long time past since he sent unto us. We therefore at all times without ceasing, both in our feasts and other convenient days, do remember you in the sacrifices which we offer, and in our prayers, as reason is, and as it becometh us to think upon our brethren. And we are right glad of your honor. As for ourselves, we have had great troubles and wars on every side, for so much as the kings that are round about us have fought against us. Howbeit, we would not be troublesome unto you, nor to others of our confederates and friends in these wars, for we have help from heaven that succoureth us, so as we are delivered from our enemies, and our enemies are brought under foot. For this cause we chose Numenius, the son of Antiochus, and Antipater, the son of Jason, and sent them unto the Romans, to renew the amity that we had with them, and the former league. We commanded them also to go unto you, and to salute and to deliver you our letters concerning the renewing of our brotherhood. Wherefore now ye shall do well to give us an answer thereto. And this is the copy of the letters which Onias sent, Arius, king of the Lacedaemonians, to Onias the high priest, greeting. It is found in writing that the Lacedaemonians and Jews are brethren, and that they are of the stock of Abraham. Now therefore, since this is come to our knowledge, ye shall do well to write unto us of your prosperity. We do write back again to you, that your cattle and goods are ours, and ours are yours. We do command therefore our ambassadors to make report unto you on this wise. Now when Jonathan heard that Demetrius's princes were come to fight against him with a greater host than afore, he removed from Jerusalem and met them in the land of Amathus, for he gave them no respite to enter his country. He sent spies also unto their tents, who came again, and told him that they were appointed to come upon them in the night season. Wherefore so soon as the sun was down, Jonathan commanded his men to watch and to be in arms, that all the night long they might be ready to fight. Also he sent forth sentinels round about the host. But when the adversaries heard that Jonathan and his men were ready for battle, they feared and trembled in their hearts, and they kindled fires in their camp. Howbeit Jonathan and his company knew it not till the morning, for they saw the lights burning. Then Jonathan pursued after them, but overtook them not, for they were gone over the river Eleutheris, whereof Jonathan turned to the Arabians, who were called Zabadians, and smote them, and took their spoils, and removing thence, he came to Damascus, and so passed through all the country. Simon also went forth, and passed through the country unto Ascalon, and the holds there adjoining, from whence he turned aside to Joppa, and won it. For he had heard that they would deliver the hold unto them that took Demetrius's part. Wherefore he set a garrison there to keep it. After this came Jonathan home again, and calling the elders of the people together, he consulted with them about building strongholds in Judea, and making the walls of Jerusalem higher, and raising a great mount between the tower and the city, for to separate it from the city, that so it might be alone, that men might neither sell nor buy in it. Upon this they came together to build up the city, forasmuch as part of the wall toward the brook on the east side was fallen down, and they repaired that which was called Kophenatha. Simon also set up Adida in Cephela, and made it strong with gates and bars. Now Tryphon went about to get the kingdom of Asia, and to kill Antiochus the king, that he might set the crown upon his own head. Howbeit he was afraid that Jonathan would not suffer him, and that he would fight against him. Wherefore he sought a way how to take Jonathan, that he might kill him. So he removed, and came to Bethshan. Then Jonathan went out to meet him with 40,000 men, chosen for the battle, and came to Bethshan. Now when Tryphon saw Jonathan come with so great a force, he durst not stretch his hand against him, but received him honorably, and commended him unto all his friends, and gave him gifts, and commanded his men of war to be as obedient unto him as to himself. Unto Jonathan also he said, Why hast thou brought all this people to so great trouble, seeing there is no war betwixt us? Therefore send them now home again, and choose a few men to wait on thee, and come thou with me to Ptolemais, for I will give it thee, and the rest of the strongholds and forces, and all that have any charge. As for me, I will return and depart, for this is the cause of my coming. So Jonathan, believing him, did as he bade him, and sent away his host, who went into the land of Judea. And with him he retained but 3,000 men, of whom he sent 2,000 into Galilee, and 1,000 went with him. Now as soon as Jonathan entered into Ptolemais, they of Ptolemais shut the gates, and took him, and all them that came with him they slew with the sword. Then sent Tryphon an host of footmen and horsemen into Galilee, and into the great plain, to destroy all Jonathan's company. But when they knew that Jonathan and they that were with him were taken and slain, they encouraged one another, and went close together, prepared to fight. They therefore that followed upon them perceived that they were ready to fight for their lives, turned back again, whereupon they all came into the land of Judea peaceably, and there they bewailed Jonathan, and them that were with him, and they were sore afraid, wherefore all Israel made great lamentation. Then all the heathen that were round about then sought to destroy them, for said they have no captain, nor any to help them. Now therefore let us make war upon them, and take away their memorial from among men. The Apocryphal Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 42. Of these things be not thou ashamed, and accept no person to sin thereby. Of the law of the Most High, and his covenant, and of judgment to justify the ungodly. Of reckoning with thy partners, and travelers, or of the gift of the heritage of friends, of exactness of balance and weights, or of getting much or little, and of merchants indifferent selling, of much correction of children, and to make the side of an evil servant to bleed. Deliver all things in number and weight, and put all in writing that thou givest out, or receivest in. Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish, and the extreme aged that contendeth with those that are young. Thus shalt thou be truly learned, and approved of all men living. The father waketh for the daughter, when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep, when she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, lest she should be hated, in her virginity, lest she should be defiled, and gotten with child in her father's house, and having an husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, lest she should be barren. Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude. Behold not every body's beauty, and sit not in the midst of women. For from garments cometh a moth, and from women wickedness. Better is the churlishness of a man than a courteous woman. A woman, I say, which bringeth shame and reproach. I will now remember the works of the Lord, and declare the things that I have seen. In the words of the Lord are his works. The sun that giveth light looketh upon all things, and the work thereof is full of the glory of the Lord. The Lord hath not given power to the saints to declare all his marvelous works, which the Almighty Lord firmly settled, that whatsoever is might be established for his glory. He seeketh out the deep and the heart, and considereth their crafty devices. For the Lord knoweth all that may be known, and he beholdeth the signs of the world. He declareth the things that are past, and for to come, and revealeth the steps of hidden things. No thought escapeth him, neither any word is hidden from him. He hath garnished the excellent words of his wisdom, and he is from everlasting to everlasting. Unto him may be nothing added, neither can he be diminished, and he hath no need of any counselor. O how desirable are all his works, and that a man may see even to a spark. All these things live and remain forever for all uses, and they are all obedient. All things are double one against another, and he hath made nothing imperfect. One thing establisheth the good or another, and who shall be filled with beholding his glory? Revelation chapter 13. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things, and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth, in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. That concludes our reading for the day. May the Lord bless everyone listening with strength, health, and courage, today and always.